Hi, I'm brand coach Toni. Thank you for joining me today. If you are a women entrepreneur and you want to build your brand, make an impact, and grow your confidence, then this is the video for you. So today, I wanted to talk to you about the two most important questions that you can answer for your ideal client. But before I let you in on that little secret, let me share a story with you about how this came about. So, a couple years ago, I was having a conversation with a potential client, and we were having a great conversation. We were talking about his business. Yes, I said his. Sometimes I do work with men, but we were talking about his business, his goals, what he really needed with his marketing and his message and things like that. And everything that he was saying was what I had already, figured out. I did my research on him, and um, just by looking at his marketing materials and everything, I could kind of tell what the issue was. But before we could even get to the selling part of the conversation, he asked me a question. And this question is the first question that your ideal client wants to know when you get on the phone for that sales call. What can you do for me? What can you do for me? If you've ever been stumped by that question when somebody, a potential client, wants to know what can you do for me, stick around and I'll let you know exactly what you should say to them when they ask that question. So, the second question is, why do I care? So, when I say why do I care, I'm talking about you and how you talk to your ideal client. You have to give them a reason to care. Sure, you're the best such and such in your business, and you've been in business for this long, and you've helped these many people, and so forth and so on, and all the numbers look great. But the bottom line is, why do they care? So through your message, you want to give them reasons why they should care, and not, you should care because of this, this, and this. But what you do is you have to start making connections with the words that you say and your ideal client. You have to connect those two things. And it's going to take some research on your part to really dig into the mind of your ideal client. And I'm talking about one ideal client. Your best client. Think about your best client and the challenges that they had. What made the relationship a good relationship? Why did they hire you? What were their challenges? All of those things are what you're going to think about when you go to answer that question, why do I care? So if your ideal client is reading through your website copy or your Instagram captions, in that material, you should be talking their language. You should be letting them know that you understand their challenges because you've been there and you were able to overcome this way, and this is how you overcame. And if they work with you, they can have the same outcome or better. And this is tried and tested. This is not an experiment that you're doing, but when you start connecting your message to the challenges, the things that your ideal client cares about, when you start connecting those two things, you will be talking their language. You will be talking directly to them. So you have to give them a reason to care. And that reason to care, it doesn't have anything to do with how great you are. It has to do with how you understand them. They want to know how you understand them and how can you solve their problems. So that was the easy answer. So the first question, I'm going to go back to the first question. Why or what can you do for me? So that first question, what can you do for me? If you've ever gotten this question, I know that you have been stumped, because as long as I have been in business, when I got that question from that potential client, I was kind of stumped, and I reverted back to, how great I am and this, that, and third, even though I didn't say I'm great and you should hire me. That's not what I said. But what I'm saying is that the conversation started going back to me. And when you're on the potential sales calls, when you're on client calls, you always need to keep the conversation about your client. Even when you're talking about yourself, you need to keep it on them. So when you're asked, what can you do for me? You say something like, well, I heard you say, or as I understand. So I heard you say that you want to increase your Instagram followers by 1,000%. What I do is this. I help you to create engaging messages, engaging visuals, and so forth and so on. So you always want to make sure that you are connecting their pain points with your solution. You don't go in to say, when they say, what can you do for me? Well, I'm a great graphic designer and I can create a logo. Or I'm an accountant, I can make sure that your books are balanced every year. Or, you don't want to start doing that. You want to say, I heard you say this, and I can assist you this way. And then you also say the result. And this result will allow you to, and then you go back to what they said that they needed. So it will go like this. What can you do for me? Well, I heard you say that you wanted to be on more speaking stages. What I can do is I can expose you to media folks or to event vendors, whatever your thing is. I can connect you to this so that you can get on more speaking stages. And what this will do is this. So it's always a formula. And I'm going to put that formula in the comments, because if you're just listening to this and you might not be able to write down or, really recall and kind of put it in a formula. I'm not a numbers girl, but I really do, kind of cause and effect type things. So I'll add that in the comments, the formula that I just spoke of, so that when you get that question, what can you do for me, you can definitively say how you can help your potential client. And it can be more than one thing. I know that you do a bunch of different things, so you are going to create different statements to answer that question, what can you do for me? Also, remember the why do I care question. You are giving your potential client a reason to care about what you're talking about. You want to make sure that you understand their cares, their concerns, their challenges. So you need to connect those two things. You need to give them a reason to care. There are thousands of hairstylists out there, and they could go to different hairstylists to get the same result and this, that, and the third. But through your message, you want to give them a reason to care about your services, because you are showing that you care about them. So let me know in the comments, did this video help you at all? If you need assistance with your brand message or your story, email me at hello@brandcoachtoni.com so we can talk about it. And remember, it doesn't work unless you do. See you soon. Bye.